viewers, remember, it has been 17 years since the 26/11 terror attacks and 15 years since Rana was arrested by the FBI on the US soil. This development is thus being touted as the biggest extradition in the recent times. Meanwhile, let's take a look at the global media reportage with regards to Rana's extradition. But before that, let's also get, in fact, my colleague Pia Man live with me on the broadcast for sharing more details.
Indeed, Simran, you will just showcase those headlines in a short while, but I'll already give a little briefing to our viewers. It's very interesting, the tone and the tenor that has been struck by these headlines. A lot of these have, in fact, refrained from mentioning, from calling Tahawwur Rana a terrorist. So that is very interesting. International media, once again, writing the same old headlines, trying to quash terror incidents against India and India's very valid concerns. Back to you, Simran. Let's take a look at the headlines itself, and then you can come back to me. Plasma.
Well, all right, Pia, thank you very much for sharing these details and also, in fact, detailing it for our viewers. But let's get a look at the global media reportage and the coverage of this very big diplomatic and the geopolitical win for India when it comes to fighting terrorism and specifically the activities that have been plotted and hatched by Pakistan. This is, in fact, the main headline of the coverage by CNN, which is one of the parts of the foreign media coverage from the US, saying the alleged co-conspirator in Mumbai terror attack lands in India after being extradited. And the BBC from the UK says that Mumbai terror attack accused extradited by the US arrives in India, calling, in fact, the accused here as the Mumbai terror attack, which his role is also being probed by the NIA. The Guardian says that US extradites Canadian citizen to India for alleged role in the deadly Mumbai attacks. In fact, Tahawwur Rana is being called as a Canadian citizen because he has maintained the Canadian citizenship, and DW in fact says that Mumbai attack suspect arrives in Delhi after US extradition. These are some of, in fact, the coverages that the foreign media has collectively in a way showcased at this big win by India. Then France 24 has said that Mumbai attack suspect extradited from the US lands in India. Well, at this point of time, there are another, in fact, outlets which have also given another light to this incident, saying Canadian wanted for 2008 Mumbai attack arrives in India after the US extradition. Now, Pia joins me live on the broadcast. Pia, we can see that there are, in fact, wide coverage that has been given to this very particular breakthrough. And as far as the win for India is concerned, this is being seen as a huge diplomatic win for India and to also counter the terrorist activities and to give a thought to how exactly India is committed to securing their region and their land. When it becomes, in fact, obvious for the global media to cover it, there are several that have called him out for the attack that he has carried and mentioned Tahawwur Rana as the Mumbai terror attack accused. Share more details as to how exactly, in particular, the foreign media has given the highlight and the coverage to this very incident.
Viewers to some of the headlines, and I'd like to point out the tone and tenor. If our PCR crew can flash that graphic that we've prepared on the side as I take them through it point by point. Of course, CNN, notably an American publication, has written alleged co-conspirator in the Mumbai terror attack lands in India. Of course, once again, the BBC, as usual, stating that Mumbai terror attacks accused extradited by US arrives in India. Meanwhile, the Guardian has a very interesting tone and terror. They have not called him a terror accused. Instead, they have mainly called him a Canadian citizen. This is in line with what Pakistan has said earlier. Pakistan, of course, has categorically denied its role in the terror attacks, despite NIA dossier clearly revealing the fact that there were ISI agents, including Major Iqbal, who were involved in coordinating with Tahawwur Rana and David Headley when Headley was performing his recce in India. So, of course, interesting tone. Guardian is, of course, another British publication known for its sometimes anti-India tilt. Meanwhile, there are several other publications. DW has a more neutral tone. It's just stated that Mumbai attacks suspect arise in Delhi after U.S. extradition. France 24, the French publication, much like the German counterpart I just mentioned, has also struck a same very neutral tone in its reportage, a very factual tone. What's interesting with Reuters, since we're flashing that headline on our screen, Reuters is, of course, a very famous news agency. Canadian news agency, and it's interesting because Reuters has a policy of not using the word terrorism anywhere. This is a policy that they had put in place ever since 9/11, which is considered the worst terror attacks in history, which had occurred in U.S. soil in New York. So ever since then, Reuters has refrained from using the word terror or labeling anyone as terrorist. So they have clearly stated that a Canadian, once again following the Pakistan line of statement, they've stated that a Canadian is wanted for the 2008 Mumbai attacks, and he's arrived in India after U.S. extradition. So once again, it is, as you put it, a big diplomatic win for India, but foreign media trying to downplay it very clearly. We can see in the headlines on our screens. Back to you.
Well, absolutely. In fact, this is what reading between the lines as to how the Western media is focused on demeaning India's big and the one of the most significant diplomatic win looks like, in the view of how India has been able to achieve a big breakthrough and bring the terror accused back after the US extradition. Well, more on that now, viewers. In light of the Rana's extradition, we expect him to spill the beans regarding the Pakistan's role in the terror attacks. Meanwhile, several eyewitnesses, survivors and brave hearts of the 26/11 have recalled the horrifying ordeal that they have faced and suffered. Then let's take a look at what they have to say.
तहव्वुर राना को हम इंडिया में या दिल्ली में ला रहे हैं, उससे सबसे बड़ी मेहरबानी हमारे